Okay, YouTube does let me switch the, it lets me flip the camera because I want to show you some books. But yeah, we cruising it, and yeah, we're here. I'm gonna look at the chart right here. I could show you the chart casually, but I've showed it in the past, and I'm just gonna read it from where I see it. And I don't necessarily have to put me on the camera, but and that short I did on my Umbriel channel, I feel like I could do it over again, because when I was like walking, I said it all in my head without having to read it, but I wanted to write it down because it just felt better to write down. But as it was in my head, it sounded more smooth, and there were some parts I missed. So I'm just gonna start with the reading, and I don't think I'm gonna put the camera on me. Um, I'm just gonna put the camera like this. Okay. See if we see it. Something like that. All right, guys. We see that. Got some books. This book was kind of cool. I read some of this book, and the dialogue and just the literature is just like, it's really soothing. And I'm just gonna do a live right now. I'm not really gonna think about it too much. Excuse this introduction, because obviously, like when I click on videos, there's just these like unnecessary introductions, and I'm not like that with my video. But so just allow the video to buffer, of course, and then skip into 2 minutes. I'll put it in the description to skip towards like 3 minutes. The video starts in 3 minutes because I'm just buffering the video, right? So the video is being buffered. I'm gonna get my beverage, my bevy poo, and I'll read a little bit of this right here. So something is about to happen, my mother told me. It will start with one sorrow and then build into 1,000. There will be so many sorrows. They will be like the stars in the sky. Now we begin. But that's not the part I read. I read this part. I am someone I never would have imagined. A secret, a dream. Body and soul burn me, drown me, tell me lies. I will still be who I am. Wow. Incantation. So you could research that book on your own. I read the inner flap and the back cover. Yep, and I know that's that. It is what it is. It is what, here's a yellow flower. And yeah, here we are. I'm gonna read the chart. Maybe I'll go back to me. So the video is buffering, and now I'm gonna start the astrological read. It starts at 4 minutes, and I'm gonna look at the chart, and I'm just gonna go for it. And I also wrote some notes. Things take time, so everything in its own mechanics, as they low-key work together, that is the bigger process in itself. And we are a small process that reflects the bigger process. And within that, us being the own microcosm process, we're in this different leveled macrocosm process of just kind of going through life. Kind of how like a baby is born, it takes time for the baby to load itself. The baby is loading. The baby isn't the baby straight up on 9 months, but to bring it to some more ground, and I don't mean to be like a certain frequency or vibe or energy. I'm just trying to see like, what really happened within like 2 weeks ago, when the new moon started. That new moon was kind of like the sun, life path number 1, respectively, is about integration. It's about, shining light upon your darkness so you could go towards some type of wholeness. So life path number 1, it's low key. It's also that dark sun, because it's embodiment, it's wholeness, it's going back to oneness. So that life path number 1, it's low key. It's like it is the shadow in this 3D paradox. The 3D paradox is, you know, to be one, you need to be one with your dark and light, but it's not about being detrimental or distorted dark, and it's not about you just being entirely dark and ignoring, like, you know, organic light, you know. But a certain type of darkness could entertain artificial light, and a certain type of darkness could not entertain an artificial light. So that's like a little gist of life path number one. Life path number two would be some type of feminine daughter creation reflection from that one, because it's the one, then it's the two. So the two would be something of like the daughter, the emotion of feeling what your ancestors are. So it's like, it's kind of like the kids are receiving particular types of gifts and talents and quote unquote curses, end quote, from the life path number one, you know. And you know, and everyone has something of a quote unquote gift curse dynamic, you know. My shit, me as just not necessarily me focusing on my life path, but me just focusing on who I am as a person. Like, one of my gift curse dynamics is like my shit is just like taboo. That's why it's like my shit's not well known, but people know it behind the scenes. But it's just so taboo. It's not necessarily caught up to the mainstream, you know. So that's why that's being there. That's why like things are the way they are in like the surface level 3D media news, because people are afraid to fucking really face their taboo shit. And since they're afraid to face their taboo shit, they're letting the surface level collective media kind of like be embarrassed and shameful about it, but yet low key behind the scenes they're still realizing what their individual taboo shit, not good, not bad, and they're just kind of learning with what taboo shit is generally. Because what taboo shit is, it's like the things that people don't want to fucking like put light on, the things that people don't want to fucking like face, like whatever that particular thing is. So it's that kind of thing. So that's a little gist of life path number one. And from that life path, and we all have that like one energy, obviously, and that one energy is like seeing like how disintegrated are we from our shadow casually, and how is that character development more or less the different types of light rounding into our shadow. So that's kind of like life path number one and two. It's like seeing where we're at in our integration, and then two, seeing how we feel about that integration, and three, being the energy mutable quote unquote crown of how the one and the two come together, and you're okay with one and two coming together, the feeling of it, and then the shadow of it, and that one and two makes the three. So it's some type of like spiritual completion, respectively. So that's life path number one, two, and three, most respectively. And like you know, it's been a while, you know. But anyways, I don't want to get like too repetitious with saying the same shit, because I'm not necessarily like that. I'm like really like I like the things that have already been originated on a different level. That's what they were. Things take time. Be patient with yourself. Choose yourself, you know. That's one fucking point that people don't necessarily fucking really realize is, regardless of what's happening on the surface level dynamics, there's nuanced distractions and psychological distractions and psychological games where you don't even know that you're not choosing yourself, but you're supposed to choose yourself so you can get sovereign energies. And if you don't get sovereign energies, then you're kind of out of sync with the organic, you know, realm, respectively. So choose yourself. That's just another thing. And then on some like professional astrology shit, it is tribulation path work. And then like that's the feminine quality of territory work, because what territory work is, that's the masculine tribulation towards just territories. And the feminine aspect of that is the path work, is actually like taking the time to be the metaphorical baby in the womb, 0 to 9 months. And that 0 to 9 months, it takes time to like be who you are, and based on what your environment is and what's being fed into you. And then after that 9 months, you pop out and you see where you are based on the different types of works your spiritual family is doing, because you're taking on their quote unquote karmas in one sense of the percentage. So the credentials are needed, right? So within the quote unquote feminine tribulation path work, on a masculine sense, is the territory work, because things are territorial, right? So if things are territorial, you need credentials. That's the professional astrology path work. The professional astrology path work is you need some type of credentials to cross that fucking territory on some neutral professional astrology shit. So the credentials are needed. So that's part of the feminine, masculine doing the tribulation path work. So you could be in the quote unquote territory that you could qualify. And hopefully, and the attention is recognized where the respect is trying to be mutually kind of like adapted, right? Because that's how world unity / quote unquote world peace would be a fucking thing, is by some type of collective mutual respect and seeing why the conflicts are what they are. So the territory work is like we all have to do some type of work in general. So as we're all doing some type of work, for us to feed ourselves, we have to find the certain crops that we want to find, but we can't necessarily pull the crops that we want to pull because we're in someone else's territory, spiritually, energetically, and tribulationally, likewise, wise like. So within that, for us to find the crops that we want, let me check the battery. Okay, it's charging. For us to find the crops you want to pull, you have to do the professional astrology territory work, because everything is something of a crop, like, and those crops that you want to pull, they could be yours or not yours, or you could have influenced them on how the crop was made, more or less, because other people are making other crops. And now you have to do the work itself to wait for the crop to grow. And now you have to do the work to pull the crop itself out. And the crop might not be ready to be pulled out yet, because that's part of the tribulation, feminine, masculine dynamic work of it. Things take time. And since things take time, we are where we're at based on where like we've reached in our spiritual growth, it's like the HD professional experts say, the body is at where it's at. It's in the right place in the right time. We have to develop our unique awareness. Who cares what other people think about your awareness, because they're not aware of what you're aware of, and that's their mental downfall. It's their mental downfall because they're assuming on some shit, and they're confused in ways that they don't even know that they're confused in, unaware and unknown, and have no knowledge that they don't even know it, respectively, towards like the mental, logic and logistics of it. So that's what that is. So, and that's like really golden too, because people don't know what you're aware of, and since they don't know what you're aware of, they could be missing out on what you could offer. No cap, no judgment, and they could just be thinking like some like sketchy ass shit, regardless of how they look. It's not even about the appearance, because the appearance is just one part of it. If you're like psychologically fucked up and you're like kind of ignorant, then the appearance doesn't necessarily mean shit. No offense to all the pretty people. I give everyone a chance for respect. That's the thing with these energies. But moving on, it's like things take time. Things are obviously a marathon, and you got to like grow your own awareness and realization to navigate yourself to be in a better place using the strategy and authority. And I'm going to post a different mini vid on the Archangel Umbriel channel on how I intuitively am looking at strategy and authority, most respectively. And before you cast a judgment, maybe preview what's being said before having pre-assumptive judgments. Not ironic, not self people. Because like the ignorance, it's not missed, it's seen, the ignorance is like detected, So I'm gonna do this fucking this astro reading right now. And as I'm doing this, I might just close the video right now, because this video, I feel it's like complete, and I'll start this shit over again, do the astro vid, I might do that, and this will be a prelude. I'll just like do this as a prelude. I'll come back, guys.